Hello, hello! Welcome everyone to the stream. Can see we got a couple of eyeballs and a couple of characters. Hi Ricardo, hi Nyanel. Thanks for coming. Glad you could make it this time too. And yeah, how's it going? How are your guys' personal projects going? Any updates? Let me know while I attempt to move our overlay thing to be a true overlay. Always takes me a moment. Reminder, of course, this overlay is a game in Godot that we created on stream a little while ago. Okay, hopefully it will be appearing over everything. Oh, yeah. So while I was, the 5-minute lead up when it's counting down, YouTube was yelling at me that the bitrate is really low, and I don't know what I can do about that. So sorry if the stream is choppy. Hopefully you can still hear my voice and see the screen clearly. If those things are there, then it's fine. Like, this isn't a gaming stream. You just need to be able to read the text, basically. Nionel is working on the design for his game. What is the game that you're making? I don't think you mentioned on Discord when we were chatting last time. So this time, like last time, I'd like to start with some playtesting again. So I'll give you guys the link and the match code because it always takes a while for folks to trickle in there. Get over to chat on my monitor here. So at this link, you will find this page. The top build here, if you click the vertical dots, you can download different versions of the game for different platforms. They are all working this time. Previously, the macOS one wasn't working. But yeah, download the version for your platform, start it up. Here, I'll start up mine. And in a moment, I will give a match ID to get into the game. I am not... Okay, I'll say this. I did some playtesting yesterday, and I think I figured out what the primary problem is in the game. And last night, I was trying really, really hard to actually fix it before the stream, because that would make the playtesting that we do on stream even more valuable. Unfortunately, I couldn't get that far in it. So I kind of already know what's going to go wrong. But I still would like to playtest. The more data I can get, trying the game with people on different computers over different networks is super useful. So here we go. Here is the match ID. And yeah, I will give a couple minutes for folks to come in there. Oh, hi, The Clean. You got a sweet shield going this time. Now Nell says, he did mention, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. It was a couple streams ago. I'm basically making a physics puzzle for minors, but all people of ages are welcomed since I'm trying to make them very challenging. Cool. Do you guys know of a game series called Portal? Yeah. I definitely know Portal. I have not played Portal very much. I'm pretty sure I have one of them, Portal 1 or Portal 2, but then haven't played it very much. It's actually kind of the same with the Half-Life games. I have all the Half-Life games, and I've played a couple minutes of them, except for Half-Life Alyx. I've played the entirety of Half-Life Alyx almost 2 times. But yeah, Portal's a really cool game. Is your game Portal-esque? I'd be very curious to hear about that. Hey Ross, good morning! What character did you get, Ross? Oh, you got a mustachioed man in a robe, kind of like a monk robe. You are Father Ross today. My character, I've got an orc guy who's looking pretty solid there with a big plate mail thing going. Although I'm green, so you guys might not actually be able to see me very well with the chroma key. Nyanel is like a Roman centurion. a very heavily dressed Roman centurion, maybe one of the Roman centurions who were stationed in England or something like that, where it's cold. You should check out Portal 2's community tests. There are over 800,000 of them. So community tests. What is a community test? So a test. So Portal, the AI is conducting all these tests on you. So these are additional tests that go in the game. That kind of thing. Anyway, yeah, the modding communities usually for Valve's games are usually pretty awesome. Ooh, Tanks a Lot looks like tried to get in there. but has left, possibly due to a mismatch in the version of the game. I wonder if I'm not on the latest version of the game. That's certainly possible. I made a bunch of builds like shortly before the stream. I can try and double check that I am. That's kind of hard to check, though, honestly, since the version's like buried inside the PCK file, and I don't know a way to see it. I should probably add something to the game, like a command line argument or something that will spit out the version. But I'm just going to look at the timestamp. So this one was 8:59, and when did this one happen? 9:23. When was this one? 8:00. I bet I'm on the wrong version. I'm sorry. Okay, hang on, guys. I must have. There's so much stuff that I have to do, like, to get ready for a stream. It's like I have this big checklist that essentially takes me an hour to do, and I forget things and mess things up all the time. And this time I was actually like trying to make changes to the game in the lead up to the stream. So give me a second. I will give you guys a new match ID once I get the latest version of the game. Did it download? Looks like it did. Sorry about that. I will get this running. Got my logs teed to a log file so I can examine them after the fact. So I was mentioning earlier, oh, actually, before I get too deep into like nitty-gritty for this game, I would like to give a quick project overview for people who are new to the stream, who don't know anything about the game. Let me just get this match ID out, and then I will do that. All right, so quick overview of the project. Retro Tank Party is a 2 to 4 player multiplayer party game thing. It's available on Steam and itch. As a network online multiplayer game, netcode is hugely important to the game. The existing netcode in the released version of the game is very simple, but works. You know, it's still possible to play and have a good time. But we've been working for the last 3-ish months on replacing that code with rollback and prediction netcode, popular in competitive fighting games. And we're getting so close to finishing. So close to finishing. And this playtest that I had yesterday, Ross, Elliot, and Aircy were there. Thank you so much, guys, for helping me playtest. It is super helpful. We did it yesterday. And, oh, okay. There's a lot of chat I have to catch up on. Let me finish this explanation, and then I'll check out what you guys have been saying. We did this playtest, and I was so excited for it because I've been working on this game so hard over the last week. Last stream, we had tons of state mismatches, and that was like the big problem. Ooh, there we go. Tanks a lot and the clean are in. Ooh, but tanks a lot, we're getting connecting. I bet I know what the cause of that is. And I'm going to need to generate a new stream ID. Or not stream ID, match ID. Okay. Before I finish my story, I'm going to kill this and make the new match ID. Sorry for the third time today, guys. When we were playtesting yesterday, I had everyone change their network relay from auto to disabled. And it looks like to connect to, was it the clean or the tank slot? I can't remember. It needs the relay. So let me, now that I've got my relay turned back on, anyone else who wants to get in here is going to also need to turn on their relay if you had turned that off in settings for some reason. Yeah, the clean, I kicked you. I kicked you accidentally. Or not accidentally, on purpose. I screwed up having my settings accidentally. So here's a new match ID. This time is the charm. So anyway, we were playtesting. I had fixed every single state mismatch bug that I had been able to reproduce, and state mismatch in the context of rollback basically means, on every machine we are running the same inputs, and the state mismatch is a check that we're doing in debug to make sure that the state on all of the clients matches. And it's only a debug thing. In the production version of the game, we're not actually going to be sending the state around. It's huge. We're going to be just sending like a hash of the state so we can do a quick like sanity check. So anyway, I'd fixed all those bugs. I was so excited. We're going to play test it, and the game was kind of unplayable. Or playable for periods of time, I guess I would say. It would be playable for like 20 seconds and then go into this stretch of unplayability and then be playable again for a little while. And Yeah, that like was really demoralizing to me, but I spent a bunch of time yesterday. I think I figured out what the problem is. The problem is related to performance, and I will dig more into that in a little bit, but everyone's on. We got a full crew here going. We got Ricardo the Clean and Ross. Let's do it. I guess Battle Royale. Battle Royale is simple. Let's go to Desert so we get a lot of power-ups. Let's break this thing. Ah! Well, we broke it. We broke it. For sure, it crashed. It crashed right away. And we got a state mismatch right away. So there's a chance that that I broke it this morning or last night or in my really like quick changes. So why only messages on Discord are shown on the screen? So 9L, the reason is that there are Twitch bots and things that will appear randomly on streams and say offensive or racist or just like profane things. And I wanted to make sure the only people whose messages would actually appear in the video of the chat were trusted people. So I set it up so that only Discord and only people on Discord with a certain role, although I could probably drop the role thing. If someone has gone out of their way to join my Discord, they're probably cool, you know? I guess it's nice to have so that if like someone turns out to be problematic on the Discord, like I don't know. Anyway, that sucks. We crashed right away. Let's try one more time. One more time at playtesting. And then if that doesn't work, I do have some reproducible issues that don't require us to playtest that we will be able to dig into on stream and maybe fix and maybe playtest again and get a better result. All right, guys. What is this, the 4th time I'm sending a match ID? Okay. So while people are joining, I'm going to catch up on chat because I missed like 10 messages or something. Zimski Centurion. Centurion? I have no idea how you'd say that in Polish. Client version doesn't match for me. I'll double check. Yep, that was my problem. Valve almost 10 years ago released the map editor for Portal 2. So Portal 2, does that just use what is Valve's engine called? Oh my god, why am I blanking on this? I can't remember, but like the Half-Life engine, the engine that they use for most of their games. Anyway, you can make your own testing chambers and upload them to the workshop. Cool. It's built into the game. That's even cooler. Client version mismatch. You can even make co-op custom maps. That's super cool. I didn't know co-op was a possibility. Looks like the Twitch stream might not be getting chat messages. That sucks. Let me, according to Restream, Twitch is supposedly connected. I don't know. Could be a bug on their end, though. What Notary? Hey, What Notary? How's it going? Messages on Twitch seem to be working now. Oh, awesome. Now, that question already answered. Source, yeah, the Source engine. Yeah, so Source 1, Source 2. Yeah. There's some really cool Half-Life Alyx mods coming out lately, which is fun for me because, so I love Half-Life Alyx. Like I said earlier, I've played it like almost through 2 times, like 1 and 3/4 or something, but it's terrifying. That game is so scary. I like sometimes playing the mods because then I can just shoot things and like move around and use the gravity gloves without being in constant terror. Okay, we've got a couple of people in the match. Let's give this a shot. Let's give it a try. We'll see if we crash this time. Please don't crash, please don't crash. Oh, come on! I bet this is a bug I just introduced. I bet it is. It has to be. When we were playtesting yesterday, it definitely lasted longer. And what is with these state mismatches, like, immediately? Okay. Remote state from 2 does not match local state. Previous state. It doesn't even tell us what isn't matching. Why isn't it telling us what isn't matching? It's just telling us the previous state. Huh. Huh. All right. We will fix this. We will fix this problem, stream team, and we will play test again. Let's see if it's reproducible locally. We'll see if the problem is reproducible locally. I bet it is. And we'll get it working, and we will play test. Have no fear. Our hive mind is on it. And then we'll dig into performance. Because like I said, I do have like a bunch of reproducible performance issues, and I can walk you through kind of the state of that. But let's get this game working. Let's play it. I want a game that you can play. That's the best kind of game. And of course I have to enter my password again because my password on my test server and the live server are different. There we go. All right, we're running in debug mode, which will hopefully give us a whole bunch of output when this thing crashes. All right, 1, 2, 3, go, crash! Interesting. You know, I think I know what this is. We are not sending the hash value. In one of my performance improvements, I changed the way that the hashes were calculated because it turned out to take like 700 microseconds, which sounds like not very much, but in the context of something that might be rolled back 20 times, 700 microseconds is a lot. That's like more than 10 milliseconds if you do it 20 times. Okay, so this is in clean data for hash. Yep. So here we go. We get this hash value, and I'm assigning it to one of these, but not the other. What's the best way to do this? Should I take the hash? But I can't apparently call it hash, because that is a reserved word. Serialized hash equals serialized hash. We'll assign it, or I could have kept a lot of that. Serialized hash. We'll assign it here, and we'll assign it here. This code is a little messy. I do still actually have a method here called calculate data hash that we could be calling, but I kind of had to unroll it so that I could call it in pieces and save some time. Serialized. Okay. I think this will fix it. And then GitLab CI can rebuild all the versions in the game in about a minute and a half. So I will test this out, and we will be playtesting again, my friends, in a moment. Okay. We crashed. Why? It's totally in there. Okay, process logged remote state. So which is it not on? Which dictionary is missing this hash value? Is it the local state or the remote state? So the remote state data does have the hash, and the local state data is missing the hash. Why would that be the case? Probably something in that same piece of code we were just looking at. Okay, let's get back there. Clean data for hash. Okay, so here we are. The purpose of this method is to mark states as being complete. A state is complete if all of the input used to build that state is not predicted, if we got all the real input from all of the clients. And we are setting the serialized hash on the state frame. We totally are. This state frame is the input complete tick, which is the one here. We're looking at input frame, which is input complete tick plus 1. How does this go again? Does state precede input? I think state precedes input. So if we have state frame 20, that gets paired with input frame 20. I think. Let's double check this. Let's go to physics process and try to figure out. Okay, so we start by saving state, but that's only on tick 0 because we need to have a state before anything happens. And then we need to look at do tick, which is when we actually run a tick. And we receive input, predict what we don't have, process it, actually do the tick, and then we save it. Okay, so input precedes state. All right. So I had it backwards in my head a second ago. Let's get back into clean data for hashtag this area. Not this one, where we are using it, here. Okay, so while the current tick is greater than input complete tick, does that make sense? Yeah, because we don't want input complete tick to get ahead of the current tick. That doesn't make any sense. We grab the input frame for the next tick that we don't know if it's complete or not. If we don't have it, bail. If it's not complete, bail. So if so, okay, cool, we got another complete tick. So then we get the state associated with that tick. And based on what we just learned about the order of these things, if we're saying the input for, say, tick 20 is complete, input tick complete goes up to tick 20, then the state that's saved from that would also be 20, because we go input 20 gets saved as state 20. Okay, so then we get the state frame here. We are cleaning the data for hash. Which we get the serialized hash, and then we're setting it. Like, this should totally have set it. So it should be set locally. Okay, so what I think should be true is if we have input complete tick up to a certain tick, then we should have the hash set on it locally. So then the place where this is crashing, we are checking if remote tick is greater than input complete tick. So locally, we should have this hash already saved, right? We're getting local state, get local state frame for that tick. And we're getting the local state data. And for some weird reason, local state data does not have it. Let's go look at like the state buffer, the whole big buffer of state, and make sure that like any of them are getting the so input complete. We're input complete up to frame 3. State buffer start. Where's the actual buffer? State buffer, this array. Okay, so the first element on this array, come on, let me inspect you. Okay, cool. Tick 0, data. It's missing the hash. Like it should have the hash. It's input complete, right? We marked it as input complete, but it doesn't have the hash. What is going on here? Where's the little thing that lets me make this smaller? There it is. Okay. Back to where this should have been created. Clean. Do we need to actually, like, I don't know. So state frame is an object. Objects always exist by reference in GDScript. This is a dictionary, also a thing that exists by reference. We're setting it. Let's set a breakpoint and just make sure that this is doing what we think it's doing. All right. A little anticlimactic here to start our stream, but we're gonna get a clean playtest. We totally are. I am determined. We will fix this little issue, and then we'll dig into the real meat of the thing. I always feel bad making meat-related metaphors because I'm a vegetarian. Like, getting to the meat of the thing, well, what does that even mean to me as a non-meat eater? All right. So we have calculated the serialized hash. That looks good, just a fun integer. We have input state frame. It should all be complete. I guess we can verify that if we really want to. Predicted, it's not predicted. Player number 2, it's not predicted. Okay. So we now have the cleaned input, the serialized input, blah, blah, blah. Where's our state frame? State frame. So we should have just set this on the data dictionary. It is set. It's there. there shouldn't be any way that this state data can be changed. 9L says, "You're a vegetarian? I am too." Awesome, 9L. I really enjoyed when we were in Poland, like all of the vegetarian restaurants. In the United States, there are restaurants that are vegetarian friendly, but they also tend to be like the complete opposite too. You know what I mean? Like there's this restaurant in Milwaukee that we used to go to, Comet Cafe, which Ross would probably know, that had great vegetarian food, like a ton of really great vegetarian food, and then it would also have like free bacon on Sundays, and like it was like great for vegetarians and great for people who want to eat like an absurd amount of meat. I don't know what that's about. Okay, so this should be set. Since we're past the point where rollbacks can happen, there's no way this frame should be regenerated. I don't think. Unless something with interpolation is causing it to be regenerated. That's my best guess, is that interpolation is somehow messing this up. So the performance optimization here was that I originally had it setting this hash every time the state was saved, which would ensure that, of course, it would always have the hash. Great. But like I said, it takes like 700 microseconds, which is just way too long. And so I had to like sort of unroll it and put it in this place where we're only calculating it when the input is complete. Yeah. Let's see if we can find the point at which this disappears. First of all, let's verify that it's actually saved. So I want to just get to anywhere else so I can get all of the properties on the sync manager. We're going to find the state buffer. We're going to verify that this state has the hash. It does not! Oh, what if this is just a thing with state 0 never has the hash? Let's check that out. So state 0 is special because there's never input for tick 0. State 0 is supposed to be the state before we ever have any input. Let me go to where state 0 is generated. Yeah, okay, so here's where state 0 is generated. And then maybe we just need to do calculate data hash on the first frame in the input or state buffer. That should be valid-ish. Where's my breakpoint? All right, let's get rid of this breakpoint. Let's just see if this fixes it. All right, don't crash. You crashed. Okay, so local state data. Which state frame is this? Which tick is this? This is remote tick 2. Okay, so it isn't a thing just about tick 0. Let's look at the state buffer. Where's state buffer? These end up in a different order every time? This is really annoying. State buffer is now way down at the bottom. All right. Let me see it. Okay, so let's check out state 0. State 0 has the hash. We specially created the hash. Cool. Let's look at state 1. Ah, didn't need to expand it. It was already expanded. State 1 has the hash, and state 2 does not. All right, my next idea is that interpolation is the culprit. We do some weird stuff to make interpolation work. Like we end up running every tick twice, which kind of sucks, but it means that we can skip an entire network frame. So running each current tick twice, right now, like the current tick runs at about 1 millisecond. So running each current tick twice means 2 milliseconds, but that allows us to run the simulation at 30 FPS and the rendering at 60 FPS, and that buys us a whole extra 16 milliseconds. We're basically saying, give me 16 milliseconds in exchange for 2, which is a pretty good deal. So it's still worth doing. Let's just find where the interpolation stuff is happening. It's at the end of physics process. All right, so we load an old state. We don't do the rollback thing here. Maybe that's triggered at the top. Okay, so maybe what's happening is we are rolling back earlier than we have. So we're rolling back a tick that we've already said we already have the input for due to interpolation. Let me just turn interpolation off. That will verify like yes or no if I'm on the right track here. So we'll go to sync manager. Or not sync manager, network sync. Network sync. And this is where we set all of our per game settings. And interpolation, true. Switch you to false. Alright. And then we'll be able to see, is interpolation the culprit? And then I have no idea how to fix this if it is, but we'll come up with something. We'll come up with something. And interpolation. So now you get to see the game running at 30 frames per second rather than 60 frames. I don't know if you can even tell over the stream, because the stream, when it's running well, it might not be running well right now, runs at 30 frames per second, so probably looks the same. I can tell the difference, though. It is, yeah, much jankier. Okay. So, I hate that we have to generate this hash twice, because it is a slow thing. We could store the hash somewhere else so that when we're redoing the state, it doesn't have to, like, it won't be overwritten, but that's a little weird. That doesn't feel quite right. It would be kind of nice, though, because then we have like a bunch of extra code that has to always ignore the hash, which we wouldn't need to use, but we've already kind of like built that into everything. So we could just do the simplest thing that would make this work for now so that we could do a playtest altogether. And I think that would be basically after we what would it be? If we roll back a tick that used to have a hash, we reset the hash or something? So are we doing the rollbacks? So here's actually the rolling backing. We've already discarded the earlier state at this point. So that doesn't work. Oh, okay, so simplest thing that could possibly work. We could check when we are saving the state if the state that we are saving is below the sort of like high water mark that we're putting for complete input, and just regenerate it. So this is wasteful. We shouldn't be doing this. I'll put a little note to do. This is wasteful. Find way to preserve the hash. We'll say if current tick is less than or equal to, what is that called? Like update input complete tick. Nope, wrong thing. Input complete tick. Input complete tick. Then we are going to do, we're going to grab the latest entry on the state buffer, And we're going to calculate data hash. One way that comes to mind, a more efficient way to save this, to do this, is to calculate the data hash one frame later. So interpolation is going to always wipe out our last frame and rerun it. But what if we didn't mark a tick as input complete? If we waited to even say that it was incomplete until we were another tick removed from it, I think that could work. But let's just do this for now. We'll come up with something better next. So turn interpolation back on. Come on. Oop. 60 frames, and we are not crashing. All right, okay. See, we figured it out, guys. We figured it out. Let's make sure that this is vaguely committable. Yeah, we've got our to-do. Just looking at this code and thinking if this is like really the right way to decompose this. Is there a way that we can set this on both of these dictionaries? But whatever, it's just setting that thing on a dictionary. That doesn't take much time at all. Okay, let's commit. Fix crash because of missing state hash. Okay, I will push that. Let's go take a quick peek over here at GitLab, and it will run our CI build. I'll just switch to this nice jobs view, so we'll see the jobs running. I'm guessing about a minute or a minute and a half, because that's what it took last time, right? Yeah, a minute and 18 seconds, minute and 19 seconds. So be ready to download another build. While that's going for this minute, I kind of want to look at the thing I was just talking about. Oh, wait, actually, let me check out chat. Have you guys been saying anything? Stream is laggy, yeah. Okay, so long as the audio is good, that's good. The video, like, are you able to read the text? Because that is, like, important. Oh, Ross is saying he's got a bail. So long as the text is readable and you guys can hear the audio, that's fine. We don't need to have super fast action for a game dev stream. The thing I wanted to look at was this idea that I had about not marking a tick as complete until a tick later, because that would eliminate the need for this entirely, I think. So input complete tick. I think I was just looking at the thing and I walked away. Okay, so we would say while current tick is greater than input complete tick plus 1, right? Giving us an extra tick to do things. And to test that that's actually working, we would need to get rid of that extra calculate data hash that I put here. And let's just see if that works. We'll, of course, playtest the other version because that one's already building, but let's just see if this does it. Yeah, okay, cool. We added a +1 and saved ourselves 700 microseconds. So I'll commit that in a minute, but let's see if the game has built. Game is built. Clean says resolution is fine. It's just 1 FPS. Oh, 1 FPS. Oh, no. Let me just take a peek in my stream stats over here. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a bit rate of like 1500 kbps. What is Restream telling me my FPS is? No, really? It's saying 5. Wait, it's on 30 for a moment. It's on 6. Yeesh. Guys, I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm on wired internet. I've got the fastest internet that's available in my area, which is not very fast. It's really not very good. But I don't know. Some days it's like this, and some days it isn't. Okay, well, anyone who is interested in jumping in to do a play test, here is the link again in case you have lost it. And I will download it as well. You need to go to the top one, the vertical dots, grab your build. I will save, place. Let's unzip this zip. And run it. I'll get you guys a match ID in a moment. I know the overlay is paused because I have chat up over on my other screen. I will unpause it as soon as I have pasted the match ID here. Log in again. And there is the match ID. All right, let's get the overlay going. There we go. So this will give us hopefully a working test, a working play test, and then I can kind of show you what is causing the insane problems we're about to have when we play test, which is basically all sorts of performance issues. I was posting on the Discord some of the numbers. I'll actually just look at those on Discord because it's the easiest way for me to find it. I was seeing some frames when we were rolling back the full 20 ticks, because there's a maximum of 20 ticks that the game will roll back to, where it was taking 33 milliseconds for just the rollbacks and a full 40 milliseconds for the physics process part of the frame. So that doesn't include rendering. Rendering probably, you know, is another couple of milliseconds, like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, something like that. And that was the problem, which we need to make sure that rolling back the full distance will be fast enough to fit within a 33 millisecond window with a little bit of breathing room for rendering and all of that stuff. And I was profiling. I stuck in a bunch of just like, you know, grabbing the current microseconds, then grabbing it again later and subtracting, essentially. And I was able to get it down to taking something like 13 milliseconds rather than 33 milliseconds for the whole rollback of 20 frames, at least in my testing. Of course, I was testing this single player, just in practice mode, with lots of tanks firing lots of bullets and things. Like, I'm sure that it will take a lot longer to roll back. So there's tons of performance improvements that we could make. And I think once we get those performance improvements made, I think that might be the last things that need to be done here, other than, you know, just generally like testing and fixing bugs that are found. Hey, we're at least playing. Oh, you guys are like really hogging the area where the power-ups are going to appear. Oh, I need to get the power-up. I need to get the power-up. No! Oh, the clean is going to boost over to the next power-up. Totally did. And zapping? Whoa. What is going on right now? Wait. What? The clean on your screen, were you still playing? And how are you moving so fast? I saw you just like zipping around, even though it claimed that I won, although I don't know how I did. What does the clean say? Something bad happened. Okay. When, ooh, I was like, what am I bumping into? Oh! Whoa. A lot of bad happened. A lot of bad happened. I'm curious, the Clean. Did you see yourself alive or dead? And when I saw you zooming around the screen, did you also see yourself zooming around the screen? That was crazy. I'm sure that that's bugs related to changes, because I have been committing lots of stuff since the playtest yesterday to today. But like, I was happy that we did have one regaining sync, but otherwise the game was mostly playable. Mostly. I don't know. Should we try one more? Should we try one more before digging in? You know, we only had one successful go. I'm gonna put another match ID, and if anyone is willing to jump back in, that would be awesome. Otherwise, I would like to start talking through some of the things that I was looking at performance-wise. So there was the hash thing that we already talked about a whole bunch. Another area that I saw was slow, although not that slow in the grand scheme of things. Was the spawn manager. We have this spawn manager singleton whose job it is to spawn and despawn objects when we are rolling back. So if an object is destroyed, then a couple frames later we need to roll back to before it was destroyed. The spawn manager's job is to recreate it. Or if we spawn an object and then we roll back a bunch of frames to the point before it was created, the spawn manager's job again is to destroy it. And it was taking a lot of time, not a ton of time, on the order of like 1 to 1.5 milliseconds. But it's something that we do like twice per frame when we're interpolating. We'd only do it once. We'd only do it when. Okay, no. If we weren't interpolating, we would only load state anytime we needed to roll back. But when we're interpolating, we always need to roll back one frame, and we always need to load state once to get the previous state to then interpolate to the current state. So we do it twice per frame. And you know, I want those milliseconds. I want those milliseconds back. And so the thing that I implemented, which doesn't totally work, is a scheme to reuse the nodes that were despawned. So rather than like taking the scene and instancing the scene again when we need a new bullet or need a new explosion or whatever, it would just sort of keep the ones that were despawned around but removed from the scene tree and then bring them back. And I managed to get it working for bullets and explosions. And it does require a little bit of extra work. You have to make the nodes able to like be restarted. If like any of the variables have default values, you can't rely on them being their default values. You have to at some point reset them. So like it wasn't working for tanks, and it wasn't working for like drop crates and some of the special bullets like the railgun bullet. So I want to profile and see if that is actually saving any time, because I don't know if it is. And if it is actually saving us some time, then I would like to fix it and make it work. If it's, you know, not saving very much time, like if it's taking us just from like 1.5 milliseconds to like, I don't know, 1.4 milliseconds, like that's a lot of effort that a developer using our rollback asset would need to do just to save that tiny bit of time. So I want to make sure that it's worthwhile, and then, you know, make it work. Looks like only the Clean came in here. Let's just give it a shot, you and me, the Clean. Let's go over to the desert. Oh, I'll make this full screen. You really destroyed me the last match. I was not keeping up. I'm hoping this one I'll do a little better, because it's a lot easier to get to the power-ups. That battlefield level. Ooh, here we go. Power up. Oh, we're both invisible. Where is he? Let's see if this power-up's any good. Oh! I zapped to the same spot. Ooh, railgun. Alright, that was worth it. Yeah, the railgun, too, also has serious performance problems. Oh, no. Yeah, here we go. We're shooting a lot of railguns, and you guys just saw attempting to regain sync. I 100% bet that is related to the performance issues with the railgun. And I have some ideas about how to fix that. That will be the thing we'll look at next. After we look at the spawn manager and see if that path is worth going down. Fixing the railgun. The bullets also seem to take, like, just normal plain bullets seem to take relatively long to process. And I'm not sure why that is. So some investigation there is needed. Ooh, no, no, no! Yeah, see all this regaining sync? I'm betting that's performance. We'll be able to see in the logs after this match is done, actually. Because all of the profiling stuff I have is in this version of the game. What? What happened there? Oh, I'd also like to see the network overlay. I want to see how many ticks we're rolling back approximately. As I mentioned earlier, there's a kind of death spiral effect where once we start rolling back a bunch, we'll start rolling back more and more and more and more. Here we go. So we went from rolling back 1 tick, and then look, we jumped up to the teens. We jumped up to the teens once the railgun got involved. Let's just play one more round here, the clean, and then let's get to looking at the logs and doing some real hacking. As far as like network artifacts and stuff, like this is looking really good. Like you have a relatively high ping to me, the clean, 230 milliseconds, and I'm barely seeing any artifacts of the rollback. Getting out of here. And we're not seeing any state mismatches. Ooh, look at, we've suddenly spiked in our rollback ticks. Oh, we both zapped in the same spot. That was really cool. And it triggered a huge state mismatch. Zapping when standing in roughly the same spot is a recipe for disaster. Actually, I just want to kill this match and look at that state mismatch. I just need to see that. Sorry, the clean. It's not. I'm not trying to get out of the fact that you were like totally whooping me, because you were. I just want to see what that state mismatch looks like. Okay, so we've got. Tell me what's actually mismatching. Ooh, you're mismatching on the score, and some really fundamental stuff. Whoa, okay, I gotta get to the start of this state mismatch. Here we go. So, here's when the state mismatches started. Yeah, and it was both related to Zap. I can recognize that this is Zap because move increment is a state property of Zap. Hey, Shiny! How's it going? Oh, I missed what the clean was saying. He boosted and immediately zapped, and after that was zooming all the time. Oh my gosh! Okay, that needs to go on. That needs to go on our. Oh, the overlay is missing. That needs to go on our to-do here as a bug to look into. Okay, so I'll put it maybe here. Bug. The clean boosted and immediately zapped, and then was all over the place. Cool. That's probably something to do with boost not cleaning up after itself. It died with like 90% HP. Yeah, that sounds like a huge state mismatch. After the zap, you went into the left wall. You killed yourself in 3rd round? Oh, interesting. I did not see myself as killed. Yeah, so that was a serious state mismatch, but it had to do with us zapping at like exactly the same time. Where did I put the logs? So we zapped like at the same time in the same place, and it looks like my client calculated a different location for your tank and a different move increment. Not hugely different, but a little bit. And that appears to have cascaded. We'll get to the next time it found a state mismatch. Still the same here. Let me just search for these doesn't match. So I can... Doesn't match. Oop, that didn't work. Maybe I don't need to put the backslash. Doesn't match. Okay. We'll go does dot int match, because that will for sure work. Okay. So for a while, for several frames, the only mismatch is our positions. And then we reach the end of zoom, or zap, I'm sorry. And what was that last one? And then the drop crates timing was off. That's interesting. Then another zap that was wildly different. Look at how different the destination for the zap is. Oh, the number generator, random number generator got out of sync, which of course would change lots of things. It would change the contents of the crates. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so then a couple more frames. Oh, then after a while, the only thing different is my position? But wildly different. My position is wildly different. Oh, and then here we go. Because the random number generator was different, my client thought I had invisible, and your client thought I had zap. And that changed, the number of charges, and I'm sure when I used my invisibility, that caused some real strange things to happen. Yeah, that was interesting. Okay, so let's stop looking at the state mismatch, because I want the theme of today to be performance. So let's look at some of these times. What's a good way to do this? I want to get kind of to the middle of the file. Less isn't giving me like a percentage. Okay, let's just find a tick towards the middle. How many ticks do we get to? Let's look for tick, I don't know, 2500. Tick 2500, where we appear to still be in sync. We received a prediction. Oh, looking at rollback would be a good place to look at it. How many rollback ticks? Because I did see there was like some 18 tick rollbacks. Let's look at rollback 18 tick. Yeah, here we go. On frame 2675, we rolled back 18 ticks. Here is the spawn manager. Right now it's configured not to reuse objects, so it's outputting this instancing new. Holy cow, why is it instancing so many new explosions? Oh, because a railgun's involved. It had to instance a lot of new explosions. And load state for this took 5.5 milliseconds. That's a lot. And then the rollback, because railgun is involved, took a really long time, so 32 milliseconds. Yeah. All right. So let's dig in. The first thing, like I said, I want to figure out if the reusing, the spawn manager reusing retired nodes, reusing despawned nodes is actually a performance gain. So let's set a baseline. How are we going to do that? I've been using this little utility class that I made called like perf counter or something like that. We need something a little more robust here. Okay, so let's first find where we want to profile. We want to profile load state. I think we want to profile load state because that's where all of the real magic happens. Save state does some stuff too. It will clean up like nodes that are no longer valid, but load state is where it's doing all of its respawning and despawning. And so this is what we care about. And so, trying to think, I want to calculate an average. I want to calculate an average spawn time. Yeah, because spawning is the slow part. I remember when I was profiling earlier, despawning would take like, I don't know, 50 microseconds, whereas spawning would take like, I don't know, for some nodes like 500 microseconds. which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're spawning 10 things, 500 microseconds is 5 milliseconds, and 5 milliseconds out of our 30 millisecond budget is quite a lot. That's a sixth. So we care about how long it takes us to spawn a node, and we want to have some kind of like running average. So first, I guess let's time it. So we'll say like spawn start get was it ticks usec, and at the end we're going to spawn time will be os get ticks usec minus our spawn start, and then the running average part. I can never remember how to do running averages. I'm more of a make a big list and like divide by the number on the list kind of guy, but we don't know how long this is going to run, so let's just look up how to calculate a running average. No, we need a running average. How to calculate moving average without keeping the count? Well, we can keep the count. I don't care. I just need to, but both need to store the count. I'm fine with storing the count. Let's store the count. Oh, interesting. Double average, double new sample. So wait, what's n? Where n is the number of samples you want to average over. Okay. That seems like okay, let's look back at this. Okay, so new average equals the old count times old data. Okay, yeah, so that gets us the total. Then we add the new data, and then we divide by the new total. That's fine. Let's do that. That sounds good. That sounds good. So we want to say like spawn average usex and spawn average count. And so we are going to do that algorithm. So we need like old total would be spawn, oops, I typoed in there, average, let's go correct that, average. Pro tip, if you guys want the time from when the game starts in nanoseconds, try this. Is it nanoseconds or microseconds? I might be saying the wrong thing this whole time. I thought it was microseconds. Hang on. Let's go see. In microseconds. I believe nanoseconds is the next unit. Let's go to, what would that be, like metric units, micro, nano. Yeah, nano is the next, it's the next 3, the next 1,000. These are microseconds, which is 1,000 milliseconds. Oh, so you're changing them to nano? So get the ticks, divide them by 10,000. Why 10,000 and not 1,000? Because isn't... I'm kind of confused. I'm kind of confused as to what your code is doing. So if I were to imagine that I was going to convert microseconds into nanoseconds, I would take the microseconds and multiply by 1,000. Because every microsecond is 1,000 nanoseconds. So if I wanted the time in nanoseconds, I just times by 1,000. I don't understand the divide by 10,000 and then multiply by, what is that? I have to add the little commas. in my mind, and then multiply by 1 million. Anyway, I will await the explanation in chat and return to implementing this really quickly. It shouldn't take much. I'll hopefully be done by the time the answer has arrived. So average count times spawn average, and then we have the old count. We need to add to that the new count. Let's actually just increment here. We'll say spawn average count plus equals 1. And then, yeah, we can just assign straight to the new average. So then it would be average usex equals old total plus spawn time divided by the count now, the spawn average count. And since the clean brought up the thing about int, that makes me wonder if I should be keeping the average as a float, because we're doing this multiplication later. And if we keep it as an int and we're constantly rounding down, we're going to be changing our value. So I'm thinking that I actually should keep this as a float. Okay, so now says the clean is right about the int. I just don't understand for some reason what exactly this code is doing. If you're dividing the microseconds by 10,000, what is that actually doing? What is that converting that into? The 10,000 is just weird. If we were dividing by 1,000, it would be converting the microseconds into milliseconds, but we're converting it into whatever one order less or more. It gets confusing when we're talking about these like decimal metric units, but one order different than a millisecond, and then multiplying by 1 million, which would then bring us one less than what I would think of as nanoseconds, because this 10,000 leaves us one decimal place to the left. This may need a future discussion at Discord. I don't want to distract the whole stream. We can talk about it later. So this should get our average usex, and then I just want to print it out. So we'll just calculate this average spawn time. Or we're spawning lots of things. So let me put it after we're done spawning things. So we'll put it down here. So we'll say print average spawn time will be our, spawn average usex. And now I'm just going to kind of look at this real quick to make sure I am float converting this at the right point. So adding these two values should convert them to a float. So our spawn time goes from, well, okay, but this has to be a float too. Let me just put that in there just in case. So multiplying the count by the average usex, that should actually make it into a float anyway. An int times a float should be a float. Okay. Let's try this. Let's see what's going down. And we can do this in practice mode. We don't need to do it. I'm just going to shoot bullets all over the place. So what it would be doing is spawning lots of bullets and lots of explosions. Hopefully to set a baseline. And average spawn time. Average spawn time, 480, that would be milliseconds, right? No. Is our average, wait, microseconds? 480 microseconds. Okay, no, that makes sense. That's fine. I want to convert this to milliseconds because I'm using milliseconds for everything else. So we'll multiply by 1,000. But yeah, that's just moving the decimal place over. Can I control how many decimal places we get here? Would that be 02F? I think. I always have to look up preemptive syntax. Valid operands. Oh, and this needs to be wrapped here. All right, let's just see if that does anything good. We'll attempt to, or I don't want 02, I want 03. 03. I want to count in milliseconds out to 3 decimal places, is what I want. Okay, are you printing out average time? Nope, nope, totally screwed it up. I need to divide. Right? Because microseconds need to divide, yeah. Okay, average spawn time. There we go. That's a number that I'm expecting to see. It's not the right length though. Why did my 03 thing not work? Let's look up preemptive syntax really quick. Or let's gather a little more baseline. Actually, we'll gather a little more baseline, then we'll look up why my 03 thing didn't work. Okay. Yeah, so 450 to 550 microseconds. And let's look up preemptive float decimal places. Oh, 0.2. Is that what it is? Oh my god. Too wordy. Stack Overflow. Okay, 0.2F. Okay. So it should be 0.3F. I'm just going to test that that's doing what I want. Not that it really matters. I just don't want to confuse myself later. Yep, there we go. Okay, finally it's doing what I want. All right, so we have this baseline of 450 to 550 milliseconds, or microseconds. And I'm going to turn on our reuse despawned nodes. And let's give this a go. We'll try to compare a similar sequence of events here. What is that? All right. We average spawn time appears to have gone down by 150 to 250 microseconds, which this is the average time for a spawn. On a given load state, we could be spawning, 10, 15 objects. Let's say like worst case scenario, like everyone's got some bullets in the world. And explosions and all that stuff going, and we're looking at, I don't want to do, well, whatever, it's fine. And we're looking at 450 times 15. That would be 6 milliseconds, and we could get it down to, let's say, 300. We save ourselves like 2 milliseconds. 2 milliseconds is worth it. It's totally worth it. All right, let's make this thing actually work. I'm gonna catch up quick on what's going on in chat though. Clean says, not only are these not nanoseconds, but you are degrading into microseconds. Actually, I'm gonna discuss this line of code with a friend of mine who tossed me this trick back in the day. He had an explanation that he had some kind of explanation. Okay, so Nionel is going to get us the explanation on how this code is supposed to work. Our burring, Ricardo, you are too fast for me. Figured out the preemptive syntax before me. What would programmers do without Stack Overflow? We would read the man page. Like, okay, so I have been a programmer since, I guess, the early 90s. Before I had man pages, then I would have opened up a book. But from the 90s through to the existence of Stack Overflow, I would have typed man printf. Oh, wrong printf. Was that the third man page? The third man page. And I would have read this. This is where I would have found the answer. And it doesn't give you enough examples. It just gives you, here we go, for decimal precision, for F. Yep. I would have spent an hour decoding this mess. That's exactly what I would have done. Yeah, Shiny, you are the right. You are the right? Whoa, where did that come from? You are right. Oh, and the clean is demonstrating the loss of precision. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what your friend's explanation is, Nyanel, because I'm a little bit baffled. Let us continue. So we are now going to try to make this node reusing thing work. This is not something I would have like come to my mind first when doing Godot. Like this is totally a thing that Unity developers do all the time, like pooling game objects and reusing them. But in this case, it totally makes sense in a Godot context because instancing scenes is slow. Creating individual nodes isn't that slow, unless you're creating a lot of them, but instancing scenes is. So let's figure out if there's anything here I need to change. I guess we have our reusing and instancing new to kind of make sure that we are doing what we think we're doing. Let me get to where I have terminal that has some spawning in it. Yeah, this doesn't have very much spawning, but it's definitely reusing those explosions. So, explosions work. Respawning the tank does not work, and railgun like really doesn't work. So let's try some of those things. How are we going to test that? Let's blow ourselves up. So we'll test the tank respawn. The only way to blow ourselves up is to use our friend the railgun, which is also going to act crazy. Oh, no, it's not acting that crazy. Actually kind of seems to be working. And we respawn fine. Where was I seeing it not work? You know what it was? It was, I was testing with a lot of rollback. I had turned on the debug thing, network sync, and I was testing with where is that? Debug rollback ticks of 20. That's where I was seeing railgun fail with the reusing. Ooh, that's some interesting audio artifacts. Yeah. Our audio thing must not be totally working when we were rolling back that many. Yeah, look at that. That is crazy. And that's not just that we made it be the 20 rollback ticks. Let me show you that with the reusing nodes turned off. If you guys are even seeing it, I keep forgetting that the stream is super slow. Let me know how the frame rate is on the stream. I hope it's gotten better and not worse, or at least stayed the same. So what was I going to turn off? I was going to turn off the reusing nodes. That's in Spawn Manager. And this should still work with 20 rollbacks. It should still work. Yeah. Wow, with 20 rollbacks, we get that crazy audio artifacts. Wow. I have to figure out what that is. Yeah, I don't know why I never tested with 20 rollbacks before, given that I should always test with something that's theoretically possible. So, okay, yeah. Something about turning on the reusing despawn nodes screws up railgun. It should be easy-ish to find. When I fixed up the other ones, it was just a lot of resetting things in the network despawn method. So we have this network spawn, and there is this pair that I almost never used until now. is network despawn, which gets called when the spawn manager is despawning something, and we just need to clean up some stuff. Like, I think we need to say line, we need to remove all points, like clear points. Is there a clear points? No. Add point. Okay, we'll look at the docs. For line 2D. Methods, clear points. Why isn't it auto-completing? Maybe it didn't have the right type info. Clear points. Can I just say, oh, it's, yeah, because the scene isn't open. So if the scene was open, Godot would know from the this guy that it's a line 2D, but because we have the title scene open, I would need to add line 2D here for it to know. And this is SG Raycast 2D. Oh, now we need to get rid of that. Now I can get my autocomplete. Okay, so we need to clear the points. We need to clear exceptions on the raycast. Clear exceptions? Come on. Why isn't it giving me autocomplete? Clear exceptions. Godot's being a little sketchy with me right now. Okay, so we clear the points, we clear the exceptions. Growing defaults to true. So we need to, we don't want to turn it back to growing here though, because it might not be totally removed yet. So we will reset growing here. We'll say growing equals true, bounced equals false. And that should be enough, I think. I think that should be enough to allow the railgun to, for the railgun bullets to be reused. Let's give it a shot. Whoa! Nope, nope. That did not work. What's going wrong? So we're reusing these bullets. This shouldn't need to be redone. That's fine. We're never changing the global position. When we spawn it, we're resetting growing and bounced. You add, oh, these fixed points. We also need to clear those fixed points. Which actually, I think I'm going to get rid of the fixed points. So the reason I added them, it doesn't really need to keep them. The line is purely cosmetic. It totally is. And I had switched using fixed points because I was always getting state mismatches on the list of points. Because the points do need to be part of the state. So when we roll back, we know like where the line was to draw it. But because it was a floating point number, I was constantly getting state mismatches. And so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll store them as fixed point numbers. So we actually store them as fixed point numbers and then turn them into floating point numbers to put into the line 2D node. But that's like totally unnecessary. It involves us creating all of these fixed point, these SG fixed vector 2s. And in the process of working on all the state stuff, I came up with a mechanism where you could actually say, well, I want this thing in the state, but I don't want it to count to the hash, to the state comparison matches. Like I just don't want it to be included. And that is by putting an underscore in front of it, like that. So I think we will eventually actually, probably later in the stream, depending on how much time we have, actually just be getting rid of the fixed point or the fixed points. So let's try if clearing those fixed points though fixes our problem. I gotta figure out what is going on with that audio replaying when it's... There we go. We're slowing down a lot because I don't know if you can see it with the choppy stream, but if I fire a lot of railgun bursts, everything gets real slow, and I'll kill this really fast. So you can see what was going on when there were a lot of railguns out in the world. If we look at the metrics, the profiling stuff, we're, you know, this rollback time is pretty large. We're getting a physics frame of 32.7 milliseconds, which I'm sure is going over the total frame budget, since there's more that Godot needs to do than just physics process. So we need to improve the performance there. Let's just do it now, because I was just talking about it. We're going to kill fixed points. Fixed points is gone. You're done. And we are going to simply add a point based on the global position. Get rid of this. Clearing fixed points isn't going to happen anymore. Oop. Syntax error. Down here, points. Points is going to be a list of the floating point positions. Why is it not auto-completing for me? Line 2D. I'm sure that it's get points. Get point count, get point position. Oh, maybe it's not. Okay, add point, clear points. Get point count, get point position, remove point, set point. What? I have to loop to get it? That's lame. All right. Gonna make us loop, we'll loop. Points equals this. Then we have to say for I in range line get point count. Still not auto completing for me. State points append line get point position. I'm assuming I remembered those variables right. I hope I did. And then here we need to get rid of this fixed point stuff. I'm going to do, I guess, just point line add point. That looks right. And then when we get down here, let us add a point based on our current global position, rather than, actually we could do this with just position, because up here we set top level and set the global position to 0, 0. So we actually don't need to do global position ever. Position and global position are the same, but position is easier to calculate in the node code, the code for node 2D in Godot. Doesn't have to like walk the scene tree and apply a whole bunch of parent matrices. So we'll just do position. We need to remove the front points, so I guess that's remove point 0 probably. Oh, it's right there. Haha. Okay. And if line get point count equals 0, we're not going to queue free. I'm surprised that's still in there. We need to sync manager despawn to despawn ourselves. That'll probably allow us to reuse more of the railgun nodes. Oh, the lifetime timer. The lifetime timer needs some help here too. Let's find the actual railgun scene. I bet we're doing a thing where like we're auto starting it. Railgun bullet. Let's get the scene loaded. Lifetime timer. Oh no. We're not, but we do need to always clear it. We do need to always stop it. So let me add a parent method here we can put on the parent class. This would be network, not netvolk, network despawn. And let's go to base bullet. Is this going to get me there? Yes. Network spawn. Let's go to network despawn. And we're going to just have the lifetime timer stop. Okay. Go back to our railgun bullet. So we call it despawn, which will, of course, trigger our despawn over here, which will stop the timer, clear the points, clear the exceptions. The rest of the stuff we don't need to clear until we actually start back up again, because we don't want to confuse things. And the last thing I think we need to do is switch from calling this points to calling this underscore points. And we will test in a little bit with a 2-player match to see if we're going to still get state mismatches. But I'm hoping that this has a positive improvement on performance. Just of the railgun bullet in general. Still seem kind of okay with that, except for the weird audio artifacts there. Ooh, no, it didn't help performance. Let's just make sure it's working correct. That looks right. Looks like it's doing the right thing. Alright, let's see if we get any state mismatches from that. Then we can at least say we've removed a complication that we didn't need, the fixed points, and we have made it respawnable. So we will we'll be able to commit that, get that into our perf branch here. Let me start another client. Let's get a 2-player match. Okay. What? We fixed this, didn't we? Let's see which one is missing it. Remote state has it. Local state is missing it. We fixed this. What in the heck? Okay, so which state is this? Which state are we looking at? I guess the one from remote tick. Remote tick 19. Remote tick 19 does not have a hash on it. Just taking a peek over at chat, sorry. Speaking of how is the determinist part of the engine working, I'm working on an RTS and all the docs I've read recommend determinist and only set use input across the network. Yeah, so the physics engine is, as far as I know, deterministic, but it hasn't really been put through that many paces. Last stream, we were chasing down issues in determinism, and then I spent most of this week up until now working on that, and I did find 2 bugs in the physics engine around determinism, and fix them. So it's possible more bugs exist in the physics engine with determinism. They weren't problems in the math. I think we're solid on the math, but with the, I guess, code flow and data structures is where those 2 determinism problems came from. We could do things in like a different order on different instances, but now it's fixed, so we're good there. But the physics engine is only part of it. You have to write all of your gameplay code deterministically as well, which is the trickier part, I think. In the state mismatch issues, the determinism issues that I fixed over the past week, 90% of them were in my gameplay code, and only a tiny bit were in the deterministic physics. Oh, points is a property. Thanks, Ricardo. I could simplify my code, I think. I think I could simplify it a whole bunch by using the points property. I will address that in a moment. Let's figure out why the heck we are crashing. So remote tick is 19. What I want to see is what the input what the heck did we call it? It was like input complete tick. God, I wish these were alphabetized. Oh my god, I've read through this list twice. Input complete tick? Hey, input complete tick is 19. Which should mean that the hash is on it. I don't know how it could mean the hash is not on it. I guess we'll have to find out. Let's look at the state buffer. What tick are we up to? What is the current tick? The current tick is 20. Oh? Oh? I thought we were going to give ourselves a frame of delay there. Let's... Input send queue start tick. Yeah, that's not related to anything. Let me look at the code that I wrote to attempt to give ourselves an extra frame of delay, because I think we should have to have an extra space, because before we were doing greater than, and now we should have to do, you know, greater than +1, right? That was update input complete tick. So if current tick is greater than input complete tick +1, then we'll increment it. What if we just say +2? It really doesn't matter. we can hash it way later, just as long as it's like happens, you know. It doesn't need to happen at the exact right moment, or the exact moment that the data is input complete. We can have a little bit of lag there. Let's try that. How is this problem still happening? Oh, hey. So before, the problem was interpolation was going back 1 extra frame. But the debug rollback ticks thing, that's actually going to go back like 20 frames no matter what. So even though we're input complete, it's going to keep redoing those frames. This sucks. Okay, so let's go back to having this just be 1 tick, because that's all we actually need. That's fine. That's to account for interpolation. Cool. Then we need, in our rollback code, physics, process. Man, this was so much simpler when I could do the performance wasteful thing. When I could just, every time we saved a state, we would regenerate the hash. Okay, in do tick, after we save the current state, yeah, this is what we have to do. We have to do this like that. I don't know that there is a way to preserve the hash, because where are we preserving it? Like, because we have to throw away the state at the top of the state buffer because we're rolling back. I mean, we have to throw it away. There's no guarantee that the newly generated state's going to be the same, so we can't really, like, save it. I guess if this code only ever runs when we're using debug rollback ticks, then it's fine. I'm gonna add a note about that. This should only run when we are using debug rollback ticks, because we shouldn't be rerunning ticks with complete input in any other case. We have interpolation covered by waiting an extra tick to calculate the hash. Okay. Let's see. This should work and should not be a performance problem, except when we're doing this debug mode. Which kind of sucks, because that makes the debug mode a little bit less useful for profiling, but or no, we want to test multiplayer here. Okay. Ooh, still crashed. Not enough state in buffer to roll back requested number of frames. How? Rollback takes 20. Rollback ticks +1 is less than or equal to buffer state size. Why was this fine before? Yeah, maybe we can only roll back 19 ticks? All right. Maybe I was only testing this with locally, and locally somehow this works. This is weird. So we should be able to roll back, 20 ticks. We just need a state before. But if we're limiting ourselves to 20 pieces of state, then really we can only roll back 19 ticks. Why has this never come up before, though? This is really weird. I'm just going to try this locally again. Like just single player in practice mode. Verify that that's still working, that I didn't somehow break that. So it's still working. It's uber slow. Probably because we added back in that thing where it's calculating the hash during rollbacks. I'm going to try just switching it to rollback 19 frames. But why is the problem happening here? Or not happening here in practice mode, but is happening in multiplayer mode? I don't know. I'm going to try this first, and then I'll think about that some more. Network sync. Debug rollback ticks 19. Because, yeah, we do need 21 ticks to roll, or 21 state frames to roll back 20 frames. So, like, my debug, the error message isn't wrong. I just don't know why that's a problem here, not when running in practice mode. Okay, so now we're rolling back 19 frames, and it is so slow. I'm sure due to that thing we added. What I don't understand is why this is slower than before the optimization. Let's look at here. I'll move around and have some slowness, and then I'm gonna quick kill this and take a look at the messages we're getting. Ooh, there's some state mismatches. That's not good. About the green twigs timer. Oh, okay. I know what that is. That we're not resetting the timer when we're using the green twigs nodes. Yeesh. A lot of things to untangle here today. So let's look at the last timing that we have. Whoa, the frame was taking 150 milliseconds. That's not right. That's not right at all. The rollback was taking 50 milliseconds. Average spawn time was pretty low. That's a nice average spawn time. So that bit seems to be working. I just don't understand why this is even slower now. So before I made before I was trying to optimize when that hash was being used, it was generating the hash once per state save. And isn't that what we're doing now? So how is this even slower? I don't know that I'm going to be able to answer that question immediately. I just want to solve something, and that something is going to be, does the railgun not cause state mismatches? Although we're not going to see it because we're going to keep getting the stupid green TIG state mismatches. So okay, more work to do before we can see if that work was worthwhile. What time is it? Ooh, okay, 15 minutes. I hope we can get something cool done in 15 minutes. I don't think we're going to get something we can play test done in the next 15 minutes. Unfortunately, I mean, it'll be broken. It'll be very, very broken, whatever we have. And I guess I'll be spending this next week just focused on performance stuff. But if I can get the performance to a decent place by next week, we may have a playtest that is like largely playable. That would be so amazing. This road has been so long, and you know, I thought with this solving those determinism issues that like that was going to be the end, and like, oh no, there's performance issues, and now we have to work on those. But it is kind of a good time to be working on performance issues because everything's in place. All of the systems are there. So that's the point when you should be profiling and working on performance things, is when the whole system's there and you can look at it as a whole and say like, what is going wrong here? And look at the biggest performance sinks and tackle those first. It's the not what do they call it? Not preemptive optimization. Is it preemptive optimization? It's pre-something optimization. We are optimizing way too early. So we're not doing that. We are optimizing at the appropriate moment. It's just frustrating that we're not done. Okay, so I was talking about the green twigs. Green twigs. You are not despawning the way you need to despawn green twigs, so let's find your scene, see what your timer looks like. All right, the timer is auto start. We need to get rid of that. We don't want it to auto start. That made sense when we were creating a new one every time, but we are not. We are creating a new one on that. We're reusing them, we're recycling them. So let's get a variable holding the timer. Premature optimization. That's what it is. I don't know if that's what Ricardo's about to type. It says our burning is typing, but it just came to me. Okay, timer. Say timer start. It is set to one shot though, right? Yep. And on despawn, we need to stop it. We need to not do queue free. We need to do instead sync manager despawn. Queue-free will still free us. Or will it? Like, why would we be using a thing that was queue-freed? I don't know. I don't know exactly what was happening there. An animation player play. What are the properties on here? Play. There's like a reset thing that we need to trigger. Is it stop? Stop reset. Okay. So what we need to do on despawn is animation player stop true. And dissolve, what properties does it change? Animation player. Oh, we can fix that by adding a reset track, right? What am I trying to get to? I want to... Isn't there like a clever thing that lets me add a reset track? Or not reset track, a reset animation? Guess not. And we need to have modulate. Let's have it reset modulate back to just its vanilla setting here. Oop, not self-modulate, modulate. That should be right. That should be good, right? So I go to dissolve. It messes with modulate. We'll play it. There it went. Go back to reset. Brings it back. Okay. This looks good, I think. It's a very simple, very simple node. Should I move it down here so we can watch for state mismatches above us? Okay, performance info, but no state mismatches that I'm seeing. Ah, this is impossible to play. Wow. So it's just this hash calculation that's like making everything nuts here. Okay, some green twigs happened. We need these green twigs to disappear, and then we need to recycle those green twigs. When we destroy the other box. I think it's 20 seconds. I think we have to wait. Godot says, yes, but we are mature. This is not premature optimization. This is mature optimization. Reused all those explosion pieces. That was cool. Still super slow. I'm hating the fact that running in this debug mode is this bad. I guess if I can make it so that this is playable in this debug mode, like that would mean that the game is playable anywhere, right? Come on. Green twigs, why are you still here? I wonder if it's a full minute we have to wait. Ooh, what did I just blow up? I heard an explosion, like something exploded, like a tank or something. Ah, okay, that green twigs went away. It didn't dissolve very cleanly. And this one we made, there's no twigs there! The twigs are missing! Okay, didn't quite get that right. I thought the reset track would do it. We might have to actually play the reset track. So it's stop true on despawn. Then animation player play reset. I thought, you know, the reset property on stop would run the reset animation. Set is false. The current animation. Okay, so we don't want the current animation position to stay. I feel like we're gonna have to stop this twice, which I don't particularly want to do, but it's fine if it's what we have to do. Or can I do that there? Will it even? Maybe I have to do it here because I don't know that we can do it on the same. This is a lot of work to just use this stupid reset animation. I think I'm going to not use the reset animation, and we'll just do modulate equals that. That should work. So, oh, where did my terminal window go? All right. Did I like make it full screen? No, I don't know. I don't know where it went. Okay, I'll just type it. I was trying to find it in my bash history. I'll just type it. That's fine. Okay, so there are two things we still need to test. We need to test the green twigs, and we need to test that the railgun does not cause a state mismatch. Yeah, this is crazy. It's always taking greater than the, Whoa! Did you see how, like, I was barely even there? Okay, zap. There's gotta be a way to make this debug mode not... Okay, here we go, railgun. To make this debug mode not so insanely slow. Maybe I need some special... See, the thing is, like, in a normal rollback, there's no guarantee ever that the state will be the same when it rolls back, and hence we can't preserve the old hash. But in this mode, we actually can be pretty sure that we can save the same hash, at least to a point. If for all of the state frames that exist below the that high watermark where we're saying is input complete, all of those hashes can be reused. For all of the state after that, we have to generate new hashes, because the input could have changed. And maybe we can take advantage of that to make this debug mode a little bit more playable. All right, well, let's test. Okay, I want one of these green twigs to despawn so that we can spawn some new green twigs that will reuse the same node. And on test the railgun, I am not seeing any messages about state mismatch, although I might miss them because there's a lot of stuff going by in the terminal. Here, we'll watch this. Yeah, no state mismatches. Okay, so the thing we did with points on railgun, that worked. And let's hit this box. Hey, and there's green twigs, and it reused them presumably. Here, I'm going to shoot this box, and I'm going to quit the app really, really fast so we can see if it's reusing the green twigs. All right. Let's come up here. Reusing green twigs. Okay, so at this point, it is never spawning another, or it's never instancing any of these scenes again. Or here we go, one got instanced. I guess the ability pickup. Those haven't been converted to despawn as opposed to queue free themselves, so that's kind of expected. But yeah, our average spawn time down to 300 some milliseconds. That is great. That is great. We're saving, 150 to 250 milliseconds on each of these spawns here. So that's awesome. The problem with our debug mode is making us have a physics process frame take 57 milliseconds. But I think we did enough things here that we can commit this. I think we can make a commit. Let's clean up our code a little bit. We can probably remove the code calculating the average spawn time because we already know that this is good. We know that it is helpful. All of the stuff in Raycast looks good. The changes to green twigs looks good. All right, I think all that I'm going to do is I'm just going to really quick comment out the code in. Well, no, let's have a commit that contains it not commented out. So we'll even leave the average spawn time stuff in here for now. Of course, when I merge this performance branch back to the normal rollback branch, I'm going to just suck out all of the weird experimental crap that I put in here. So it's a very clean commit that gets all of this. But yeah, we can totally commit this. We'll say re-enabled and timed reusing nodes in the, I'll say despawned nodes, we're using despawned nodes in the spawn manager, and made green twigs and railgun bullet work better with this. There we go. That is a passable commit message. And yeah, I'm what time is it? Yep, we're past time on the stream. I'm, disappointed as always when we get to the end of a stream and we haven't solved a major problem or got something new at the end of the stream that we can play test again and see oh, it's improved since we started. But I think we're on the right course. You guys probably have a pretty good idea of the things that I need to get done to make this really work. Yeah, next week, I hope is the week. It's possible that we will have solved state mismatches, then solved performance, and then found new mystery problem, but I'm hopeful, I'm positive. Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks especially for those who helped playtest. That is super helpful to me. I hope everyone has